Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Erica. I hope everyone is having a good evening. I know that we've got at least one listener that should be here today, and we are working on spreading our wings out to as many people as possible. And to do that, I will introduce our resident Canuckistani, our dirty Frenchy Frenchman, Dale. Say hello, Dale.
Bonjour, tout le monde. Hello. It's good to be here, and welcome to all of our one audience member. Welcome to the show.
And I am wondering if Molly is going to come off mute. If she does, I will introduce her. She is our resident. Oh, there she is.
Hello.
Our resident Serbian, our former Soviet Molly.
Oh, I'm coming to you right from the kitchen where I'm cooking some sausages right now.
Right from the
Nice.
kitchen.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got some lovely things to go over today. Mostly it's going to be about Israel, but we're going to go over some Twitter stupidity.
Just a heads up, our resident QA has said something about your audio, Erica.
Got noise on my audio.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
faintly hear a bit of a fuzz. Very
You
faint,
hear a
but
faint fuzz.
Yeah.
Give me a moment. See if I can correct this.
thank you once again, Z, for your excellent QA work. Not many podcasts can boast they have QA, but we do, despite being very small. So suck it, larger
Yes.
podcasts.
And there's the reason. It is something that we are going to have to deal with for the time being.
All right.
Because the equalizer that I'm using apparently is no longer installed for my microphone.
Hmm.
Unless I uninstall and reinstall.
It is
But-
better now. I'd say it wasn't very noticeable now. Now it's almost unnoticeable.
Okay,
So,
that's fine.
Whatever you did do, good job.
I didn't do jack squat.
Oh.
Anyways, to start us off, I want to play a little or pay a little homage to Tom Lehrer. And I don't know if anyone knows who Tom Lehrer is. Tom Lehrer is a musical comedian.
Oh.
A Jewish musical comedian from the 60s. 60s and 70s, actually. He's got a lot of music about war, and thanks to the Palestinians and the Israelis, we've got a few songs, or I have a few songs, that I am going to bring up. The first one is Who's Next? And then the second one is So Long Mom. And I don't know if any of my hosts watched those videos.
I watched the Who's Next one, but not any of the others.
Okay. I will be linking the videos in the description. I am only going to go over So Long Mom. Let's see. Tom Lehrer. And I need to get this up on the screen. It is not a Twitter picture. It is YouTube. YouTube. And we will open up.
You know, every great war produces its great hit songs. And after each war, we like to gather around the piano or the guitar and play these songs. We enjoy the songs because they remind us of how much we enjoyed the war. Now,
He's not wrong.
World War III is almost upon us, as you know, by popular demand, it seems. And it occurred to me that if any songs are going to come out of World War III, we better start writing them now. So I have one here. This is a song that some of the boys will have sung to their mothers as they will have gone bravely off to World War III. There's one reference in here that I should explain. There is a reference to our leading television news commentators, Chet Huntley and David Brinkley. I feel that this is appropriate because, as you know, World War III will be the first world war to be seen on television. And
A little bit of pre-nostalgia for you.
I certainly hope that we all have color television by then. So long, Mom, I'm off to drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But while you swelter down there in your shelter, you can watch me on your TV. While we're attacking frontally, watch Brinkley and Huntley describing contrapuntally the cities we have lost. No need for you to miss a minute of the agonizing Holocaust. Yeah!
This is some very dark shit.
Yes. Yes, it is.
There are other songs to this. This one specifically, We Will All Go Together When We Go, which is the title of today's podcast, We'll All Go Together When We Go, which is another play on World War III and nuclear bombs.
I gotta say, nuclear bombs will never be dropped because of the mad doctrine, basically. No one wants to go to war with nuclear fucking bombs. Not even tactical ones.
So our QA once again said that she's getting audio dropout. I don't entirely know what audio dropout means, but I'm assuming something's up with the audio.
I think she's just cutting out, and I think I noticed that as well when she was talking, when the video was playing.
It's something that we're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah.
I can't fix it until I can restart the computer, and I can't restart the computer while the stream's running because I'll lose the stream.
I always like to end on a positive note, so here is a rousing, uplifting song which is guaranteed to cheer you up. When you attend a funeral, it is sad to think that sooner or
Apparently the
later
entire
those
stream
will
has
do
gone
the
mute.
same.
It's
Which
all gone mute.
which it may be a copyright thing since we're playing music. I know
Okay.
occasionally some of my videos in the past have been just muted because I had copyrighted audio on them. I had music on
Gotcha.
them.
Well,
alright,
let's
so-
see if, huh?
Alright.
Video freezing. This is gonna be frustrating. Give me a second here. I'm going to mute this to the audience so that I can see if I can hear myself. I can hear everything.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on this, and it says I have a poor connection,
Hmm.
even though I'm getting full up speed, which means it's a YouTube problem.
Hmm.
The audio mutes and unmutes are random, and I've been noticing YouTube videos they're freezing.
Yeah. So that Z knows, it's definitely a YouTube issue. It is not an us issue. I have full connectivity and high upload.
Hmm.
The meeting and no meeting seems to only start when the YouTube video
Um,
starts.
it's possible it could
I
also
know,
maybe be
but,
a
like there's no one else
issue
working
on.
and they're asking for calls.
It could also be possible that it's a just happening on Z's end. If anyone could maybe go and check as well, like I guess I could exit this chat briefly and then check on the stream and see if I'm
Well,
experiencing the same issue.
I already checked on the stream.
Oh.
I'll check on it again, but
All right. So
yeah,
while she's doing
it
that,
says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. But I have a high upstream, and OBS is showing 0 dropped frames, which means it's definitely a YouTube issue.
terrible.
Yeah. It's definitely a YouTube issue. So it's all being recorded. It's all good. I will skip the videos. Simple fact of the matter is I am now concerned about nuclear war. And it's because I know how the Israeli Defense Force is. And me and Stoner were talking about this before we even came on the stream. When the Palestinians hit Israel,
Mhm.
I was absolutely certain that within the next week we're going to see a nuke dropped on Palestine. And Dale, what did you say?
I said that I think they have enough conventional firepower where they're not going to need to nuke. They're just going to glass the area with conventional weapons because they don't want the PR issue of nuking someone.
I need to say something. It's very
Yeah,
important.
go ahead.
So basically, Hamas can steamroll Israel at this point, probably because of the
No.
Taliban in Afghanistan funding them.
No.
Yeah,
Hamas
trust me.
cannot steamroll. We will see over the next week if I am correct.
They already
Israel is just
captured a brigadier general.
one. It was a surprise attack, and the Israelis were not prepared. Over the next week, we are going to see an overwhelming response because the Palestinians don't. Israel controls the electricity to Palestine or to Gaza. They've already
doesn't
announced
matter.
they'll be cutting off power. Right?
The U.S.
They're-
controlled Afghanistan, but the Taliban didn't have electricity, and they still beat them. Doesn't matter.
They won. The U.S. retreated from their 20-year occupation. They didn't win the war. Right? The war ended in a couple of weeks. It was the occupation that eventually failed.
Yeah, and Israel is occupying Palestine.
Not. It's kind of blocking off Palestine. It's not really occupying it as much as it is just blockading it.
It's not doing that. It's actually occupying it because Palestine was bigger in the past, and now it's
so
a
Gaza.
microstate, almost.
They used to be occupying Gaza, but they left in I think the early 2010s, and then after that there'd been a lot of rocket attacks.
I'm pretty
they
sure
no
they went
longer
back into Gaza.
No, they went back to kill some people and then left again. They didn't fully occupy it like they were doing before.
They're like sending out settlement parties, which are civilians that are
That's
also
not
armed.
Gaza. That's the West Bank. But that means
I mean-
they're not militarily occupying the West Bank or Gaza in the same way that the U.S. occupied Afghanistan.
Okay, so it's colonialism basically. But
Yeah, I'm
basically, if Israel falls, the Israeli government would probably nuke the entire territory after
Yes,
pulling out.
that is it is. They do have their Samson doctrine to basically, if their existence as a state is threatened, they're just going to nuke everyone around them. But other than that, again, with it, my prediction is within the next couple of weeks, Palestine is just going to be glassed with conventional weaponry, and they're going to be crushed because
okay.
they
And
don't have the firepower to actually fight an actual war.
we've talked about the three forces in the world that you don't fuck with. You don't fuck with the U.S. Marines. We're crazy. We are crazy ass motherfuckers. You don't fuck with Georgians. They're crazier than us. They're much more crazy than U.S. Marines. And then you don't fuck with the Israelis. You definitely don't fuck with the Israelis. Because those motherfuckers don't care about PR. They never have, and they never will. Because everyone else covers their ass. Israel will have absolutely no qualms about dropping a nuke before their existence is threatened. They've got a big stick and they're gonna fucking use it. They have no
Also-
issues nuking their outer territory either. They are
Sorry.
100% crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would add the Taliban to that list as well because they defeated the Soviets and the U.S.
Well,
successfully.
there's a little bit of a difference here. We have the Taliban and we have ISIS in a traditionally mountainous country with lots of caves and unconventional warfare.
Yeah.
And while it's true we have some unconventional warfare going on by the Palestinians in Israel, this is not going to be the same because Israel doesn't care about collateral damage. They don't care about how civilians are at any point. If it means getting rid of the threat, they're going to nuke them. We could have been done in Afghanistan in a couple years, but we care too much about PR. And everyone cares about how the U.S. looks. Everyone. No
Honestly-
one's... Go ahead.
If MacArthur was allowed to nuke Korea, we wouldn't have a North Korea.
I know. I absolutely agree. We wouldn't have North Korea. We wouldn't have a Vietnam either.
If they nuked China during China's first attempt to invade Taiwan, we wouldn't have a China either.
If they nuked
A communist China.
the communist China while it was in the mountains and the nationalists were in China, we wouldn't have a communist China.
Yes.
I know, and it's all because we care about PR of the U.S., but Israel doesn't care about PR because everyone covers for Israel. Everyone.
Well,
It's kind of
it's more that the U.S. covers for Israel, and the U.S. and the allies of the U.S. can't do anything. They often condemn them in the UN, but they're just powerless to do anything. It's mostly
that?
the U.S. covering for Israel.
I'll agree to that.
Arctic Wolf.
Because something like 30% of the U.S. population believes in this insane theory that that they're fucking dispensationalists who think that for Jesus to come back, the modern state of Israel must exist. They're insane, and they believe insane things like that. And hence why Israel can get away with anything, because a third of the U.S. population will support them in anything they do because of their batshit insane beliefs.
Let's
Here,
see
UMP.
here.
I saw someone with exactly your
Fucking
face.
evangelicals.
I need to go back. My shifts. My breaks ending.
Okay.
All right, good luck.
We'll see you soon.
No. I was telling to my roommate. I'm gonna be here for the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Unless an engineer calls me, then I have to take the call.
Okay. So, to top that off, Dale sent me this Twitter link, and I will bring it up. Lord Bebo. Turn on. Okay, so we've got a bunch of fucking videos. And we're gonna go through these tweets.
There's a lot of them. When I last checked, when I first sent it to you, there was like 70 tweets. Now there's like 180.
Yeah, so
And that was when I
we've got
checked like an hour ago, so it's probably even worse.
14 hours ago, we've got missile barrages.
Can you scroll down a bit? We were just seeing the very top of it. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries.
People are dead and captured.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. They're taking prisoners. This is an Israeli female.
She looks dead.
Yeah.
May just be taking a corpse. Then she has a head, looked like some bad head wound.
An attacked festival. I think that's where that motorcycle clip came from.
Yeah.
More Israelis
believe-
captured.
Yeah. I believe that's Gaza, so they're all celebrating.
Yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. There's a fucking
paratroopers.
hang glider.
Oh,
What the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. There's a hang glider paratrooper.
Well, it's a fan powered hang glider.
Yeah. I have to give them credit. It's pretty
Let's
impressive.
see.
But
A destroyed
do.
Israeli tank. And I think from the same tank they actually grabbed, they grabbed people out of the tank. I think these are corpses.
I've
yeah.
actually seen a footage of like a Palestinian drone dropping like a shell
Grenades,
on
yeah.
top of a tank and it just destroyed
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it makes me believe that
And-
like tanks are becoming obsolete due to drones. You don't even need like
Civilians.
big drones. You just need a small one.
Well, not obsolete, but they're becoming more vulnerable. The tanks still
Yeah.
have a use. They're just becoming more vulnerable.
Unless you
Okay.
get like a point laser defense that's gonna obliterate the drone when it flies in, the tank is gonna be like useless in modern warfare.
Not
So-
useless, but again, less.
Yeah, but
useful.
you have like javelins to take it out. You have like RPGs, and now you have drones. It's very hard to keep it alive.
Yes.
So we've got Hamas in control of 7 Israeli communities near the Gaza Strip.
Mhm.
Burning parking lot after a missile barrage. A mosque loudspeaker
throughout Jerusalem, calling on Muslims in Israel to rise up and wage holy war against Israel. It's not going to end well for them.
No. Additional forces of Palestinian fighters moving forward through the gaps punched in the border in the direction of Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu basically saying that they're going to strike back and declaring war on Palestine. Palestinians breaking down the wall on the border with Israel.
Mhm.
Israel is retaliating against the Gaza Strip.
Yep.
Captured Humvee.
They were celebrating it.
Yeah, there are marches taking place in Palestinian cities. Southern Israel.
Mhm.
Military and police are gathering in Darrow. The local police station in the city has been captured.
Yep. So, death of a prominent city council member of some Israeli city
Sha'ar.
in gunfight with Hamas. Oh, Shars.
Palestine
Mo-
captured Humvee.
Yep.
Israeli
Israeli
helicopters.
Apparently, they've been shooting them down now. Um,
Another captured vehicle. Continued
Running.
fighting. Now looks like an old fucking an old plate carrier that dude was carrying.
Mhm.
Threw a charge. Didn't make very much of a big boom.
Mhm.
More Palestinian celebration. More pictures.
Yeah, more pictures of just dead Israeli soldiers. Reinforcements on the
Palestinian
Palestinian side.
reinforcements. Operational footage of an Israeli airstrike.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at this. Oh, you got some big boomies here.
Mhm.
And of course, we've got people on the run.
Mhm.
Israeli officer captured. In reality, they just try to capture everybody randomly for negotiation leverage and keep them alive if they're acting with foresight.
Mhm.
These are more Israeli captives. Attacks on IDF positions. Israeli hospitals have received more than 500 wounded, including critical and serious injuries. The consequence of a rocket arriving at a building in Tel Aviv.
Which is the second most populated city in Israel, and I believe the capital of Israel.
It's also a huge, a huge tourism center for Israel.
Yes.
Drones used to knock out an Israeli Merkava Mark IV tank with a grenade from a copter.
Yeah, that was the video Molly was talking about.
Yeah. An Israeli strike on the Gaza Strip.
They just blow up a giant building. Because, it's what Israel does.
Part of a giant building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Building's gone.
Yeah.
Let's see. Palestinians breaking through the fence. Okay. Operational security. I get it. Israel's second largest power plant, Rutenberg, came under rocket fire. Looks like a coal plant or an oil plant. Photo of the day, another Israeli tank.
Yep.
Hamas unit publishes footage of the landing from paragliders.
Yeah.
War against invaders. Hamas spokesman Khalid Kadomi on the attack on Israel. We want the international community to stop the... let's see, he said... The group's military operation is a response to all the atrocities that Palestinians have faced for decades. I'm telling you, I called this. We want the international community to stop the atrocities in Gaza against the Palestinian people, against our holy places like Al-Aqsa. All this is the reason for the start of this battle. Asked whether Hamas had taken Israeli soldiers and civilians hostage, Kadomi replied, "They are not hostages, they are prisoners of war."
Well, if this person actually wanted to prevent atrocities against Gaza, this is the stupidest thing they could have ever done.
Wait, sorry, my laptop died. What's going on?
Okay, so one of the leaders of Hamas, a spokesman for Hamas, Khalid Kadomi, he said the group's military operation is a response to all the atrocities that Palestinians have faced for decades. We want the international community to stop the atrocities in Gaza against the Palestinian people, against our holy places like Al-Aqsa. All this is the reason for the start of this battle. When asked whether Hamas had taken Israeli soldiers and civilians hostage, Kadomi replied, "They are not hostages, they are prisoners of war." I call bullshit. Civilians are not prisoners of war. That woman that was in the back of the truck definitely was not a militant Israeli.
Yeah.
Definitely
and
was
just for the
not
reference,
an IDF.
for those who might not understand, Al-Aqsa is the Muslim name for the Temple Mount, which some people may be more familiar with it under that name. Sorry?
Jerusalem.
Yes, it's the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The Muslims call it Al-Aqsa. So that is what they were referring to. You may see it more. You may see it come up more.
Yeah, no, they aren't prisoners of war. They're hostages. If you want to get through this alive, they're hostages.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if they refer to Jerusalem as Al-Aqsa,
No,
what
no,
do they
they
refer
don't.
to?
They don't refer to Jerusalem as Al-Aqsa. They refer to the Temple of Solomon, the destroyed Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem as Al-Aqsa. For them, it is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. For the
Okay.
Jews and the Christians, it's the Temple Mount or the ruins of the Temple of Solomon.
Okay.
It's the Arabic name for that. And it's been contested for a while. A lot of fighting has gone on over the past couple of decades about who can actually go there.
Let's see what's going on in our chat.
It's so random. Okay, at this point.
Yes, I do agree. There is a reason why flying tanks do not exist.
Yet.
Hmm.
Okay. Crew of an Israeli tank. One appears dead and one has been captured. 2 captured Israelis. They captured them for negotiation leverage. In my opinion, civilians should not be touched, and I condemn that. Yeah, see, these aren't military personnel. They are not IDF soldiers. They're civilians.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like Israel has been bombing Palestinian civilians. For like a
That's
long
the
time.
government.
Yes. And also, I do have to say, when your government specifically puts military targets among civilians so that you force them to bomb those military targets for bad PR, it's kind of on you. And the government of Palestine has been hiding military targets within civilian areas specifically for PR purposes for a long time.
This,
I mean,
this
you
is
don't really have a lot of territory to hide your
But
military.
but you
assets.
don't have to put them in schools, and they do. They do it so that they can claim Israel bombed schools when they're hitting rockets. They're hitting rocket firing devices that are being fired from schools.
This is what the Taliban have done. This is what ISIS has done.
Yes.
When it comes to military targets, they place all of their valuable assets in civilian-rich areas. We're talking
Yes.
hospitals. We're talking schools. We're talking city centers where there's a high civilian population.
Yeah, it is specifically a military tactic because they know we're adverse to we are collateral damage adverse significantly more than they are. So they do this specifically because we're less willing to kill civilians than they would be. Now, and this doesn't excuse some stuff that Israel has done, but they're specifically doing it so just to make them look bad when they attack military targets.
Which
Miss
is-
Erica, may I ask a question real quick, please?
Have at it, Stoner.
All right. Now, doesn't the Israeli government require every male individual, and of course this is voluntary for the females, to do a term of service in the IDF?
Yes.
I do not know.
I have to also
They do.
open up Commander.
I believe.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, so if that's the case, then just about every single person living in Israel has military experience. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean they're active military. They've just had some training. They've spent some time doing some military things. Most of them not in any combat. They were just, I don't know, administrative stuff, logistical stuff. Like they're still not military targets. They've just had some training.
Yeah, I got you. So that would still mean that the Palestinians taking civilian hostages is still a bad move,
Yes.
Yeah.
even though those said civilians likely already have military training.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to ask for clarification. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
And here's how most militaries work. Most
Is it?
modern militaries work. You have your ground troops, or you have your pilots, people like that, people who are actually in action. And then you have about 10 times that in logistics. We're talking communications, administration, encryption,
Decryption.
well, that's encryption still.
Fair enough.
You have an actual logistics, quote unquote, area. Like you have actual logistics personnel that figure out where things should be placed and where people should go. So most everyone in a military, a modern military, are not going to see action. The only people that are going to see action are the people who are most closely related to the feet on the ground, the boots on the ground. So people like radio operators, they're the most likely non boots on the ground that are actually in combat.
Opened a film or something that actually released it.
Let's see. The corpses of Israeli soldiers are paraded in the Gaza Strip.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Very
What if every civilian that has to like go to the army, like mandatory and everything, I'm very confident that they all get basic training, shooting guns, formations, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the reservists, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, reservists
That means
are
everyone-
different than civilians who've had military training, but yeah, most of them are still capable of serving if they're, conscripted.
Yeah, but what if Israel has like a reservist sort of like military like organization? I'm not saying organization is just like organized like that, where every male civilian like that has that experience is ready to fight at any time.
Well, you need to not be a communist shill to begin with, and unfortunately, Israel has gone the same way as most of Europe. No guns, not for civilians. IDF, absolutely. If you are not
Maybe they
currently
will
serving in
rethink this.
IDF, no guns.
Yeah,
Maybe they will
if-
reconsider now.
if they had guns, this would be like way different.
Yeah, you could not do this in Texas. No matter how many people, no matter how many
Mexicans
Islamists
come.
you
Yeah,
have. Yeah.
just
You
replace
cannot do
Hamas
this
with
in
Mexico, and you cannot invade Texas.
Yes. You're not gonna. You're gonna die. Very quickly.
Okay. So, unconfirmed Israeli occupation army has begun removing military equipment, including F-16 fighter jets, from the south of the country so as not to hand it over to the Palestinian resistance. And I'm telling you right now, the pilots for those jets, they are crazy.
Why are they like moving those on trucks and not just flying them from an airbase to another airbase?
Because they need them close by.
Actually, I've often wondered that. Like, oftentimes, you'll see some pictures before of like tanks being moved on trucks. Why not just drive the tanks? Why Why go to the effort of putting them on a truck and moving them that way?
Tanks are
May I answer
very
that question,
fuel
please?
inefficient.
May I answer that question, please?
Yeah,
Sure.
It's to save wear and tear on the tracks.
yeah, too. Yeah, but they're very inefficient at getting to places.
One of the most fuel inefficient tanks in existence is the American M1 Abrams. And the reason why it's so fuel inefficient is because it uses a turbine engine instead of a standard turbocharged diesel engine.
Really?
Okay, a
Yes.
salafist.
That's one of the reasons why the Abrams is one of the fastest tanks in the world. And I've actually heard reports of some tank crews taking the governors off of their tanks and getting them things up to 60 miles an hour.
It's
Damn.
dangerous as fuck.
Yeah, it's dangerous to do that because you run the risk of destroying your tracks.
What is the governor? I see
governor
the governor
limits-
is the governor of the state.
All right,
no,
the
uh,
governor is a device on an engine to keep it at a certain RPM.
So it's like a limiter, kind of. It
Yeah,
limits
Yeah,
you to-
basically, every single engine that I know of has a governor on it. Otherwise, it runs the chance of going too high in the RPMs and destroying itself.
Most countries call it a rev limiter.
I've never heard it as a rev limiter. I only heard it as a governor.
Yeah, that's what we call it down here. I mean, let me
Yeah.
put it to you this way: even if I remember right, when I was in middle school in shop class, we tore apart a lawnmower engine. Even that had a governor on it.
Yeah, Dale, my electric bike from Big Pizza had a speed limiter. Like, it went 25 kilometers, but it could go like 50.
Oh, nice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, back to your question about why they put tanks on flatbeds to haul them. It's to, one, save on fuel and to save wear and tear on the tank itself.
Right. Now, just to quickly segue back to the tweets, something worth noting is this tweet here right now. For the majority of these conflicts that have happened between the Israelis and the Palestinians have never been technologically competent enough to conduct massive cyber attacks. This seems to have changed. They are now actually waging cyber warfare as well with the Israelis. Apparently taking out a lot of key cyber architecture networks in Israel.
Conspiracy theory time. I still
Wait,
don't
let me
think.
put my tinfoil hat on.
I still don't think Palestine has the ability to run a cyber attack like this. I would gather
sure.
that it's probably Iran.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, we will see later in the thread. The Quds force is very heavily involved with these attacks and actually participating in them. So it would make a lot of sense. And for those of you who don't know, the Al Quds force is kind of like Iran's. It's the part of Iran's military that operates outside of Iran in non-wartime scenarios.
It's Iran's CIA.
Yes.
May I ask another question before we go any further?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the likelihood that the Russians have a hand in provoking the Palestinians into attacking Israel like this?
I wouldn't say it's as much Russia as it is Russia's allies, mostly Iran, because Russia's kind of preoccupied, and if they were going to dedicate resources to attacking something, it wouldn't be just a proxy of the U.S. I don't think. I think they'd more, if they were going to dedicate resources to something besides the Ukraine war, they'd dedicate it to something more targeted at the U.S. or the West.
Yeah, listen. We'd talked about this before the stream. If Russia is going to do anything, they are screwing themselves. Because we've already gotten a threat to not interfere with Ukraine, and now they're interfering with a NATO force.
Yeah.
It's a bad choice it's a bad thing to try to do.
Yeah, this
And
is
if-
most likely like the brainchild of Iran, not Russia. It just so happens that Russia and Iran are allied, but
Wait.
it's not a Russia thing. It's an Iran wants to destroy Israel thing, which
Wait,
they
Israel
do.
is part of NATO?
No, it's the U.S. is, and I'm not on video here, so I will point out the air quotes I'm doing. It's our greatest ally, quote end quote. So yes, for reasons I explained earlier, because a third of the U.S. population is insane.
Bro, the greatest ally of the US is probably Germany.
Yes.
Or the UK, but
Yeah, probably the UK. They have the closest
Yeah.
ties.
So, Israel is not a member of NATO. However, Israel is designated by the United States as a major non-NATO ally. Israel and Egypt were the first countries to be granted this status in 1987. Israel and Egypt are the only countries in the Middle East with this designation. We have a treaty with Israel, specifically. Like, we have a treaty with them. Let me see if I can look it up. U.S. treaty with Israel. Israel PDF. That's from the IRS.
Boo. Now that last week's episode is over, I can go back to hating on the IRS.
I forgot about that. U.S. security cooperation with Israel.
Oh, you like the IRS? What the fuck?
Watched the last episode, but yes, they got credit for one thing. Now that that thing is no longer the topic, I can go back to hating on them.
Let's see. So we have an income tax treaty with Israel.
Ew, taxation.
Agreed.
What is an income
Okay.
tax agreement?
So my guess is so say you are a dual citizen of two countries, say the US and Canada. Oftentimes you will have to pay taxes to both countries. So if I'm a Canadian citizen working in the US, I'm gonna have to pay taxes to both Canada and the US. Unless we have an agreement about it, saying, oh, while I'm in the US, I only pay US taxes.
That is so retarded.
It is.
Why should I pay taxes if I'm not in that country?
It is, I agree, and I believe Canada does have a bunch of these treaties with the US. So my guess is it goes something like that if you're a US citizen in Israel working, or a Israeli citizen in the US working, you probably don't have to pay taxes to the country you are not living in at the time.
Okay,
That's how most income tax treaties work. Or you pay a lot less tax. Maybe it's like, okay, you pay 5% instead of like 30%. Right? Okay, you pay a lot less, or like you can write off the taxes that you pay in the other country. So like, say I have a tax rate of 30% in Canada and 15% in the US. Okay, I can write off that 15% of US taxes, and then I still only have to pay the remaining 15% in Canada.
Okay,
that's how a lot of these go.
So let's get off taxes and back on Israel. The Jerusalem U.S.-Israel Strategic Partnership Joint Declaration. The leaders of the United States and Israel, President Biden and Prime Minister Lapid, met in Jerusalem on 14 July 2022 and adopted the following joint declaration on the U.S.-Israel Strategic Partnership. The United States and Israel reaffirmed the unbreakable bonds between our two countries and the enduring commitment of the United States to Israel's security. Our countries further reaffirm that the strategic U.S.-Israel partnership is based on a bedrock of shared values, shared interests, and true friendship. Furthermore,
I'm sorry.
the United...
Hold on. Why? Why is there like a unbreakable friendship here?
I already explained
it's one-sided.
All right. I already explained it earlier on, but a quick summary: a third of the U.S. population, or 30% of the U.S. population, are dispensationalists who believe that the modern state of Israel needs to exist in order for the second coming of Jesus to happen. Therefore, they will do anything and everything to support Israel. They are insane, but it is what it is. It's an
Well, and
insane and it's
there's
an insane and retarded belief, but they have it. Fuck you, evangelicals! You are
there's
insane.
there's
But
more
yes.
there's more beyond that. It's because Israel was not a country until after World War II.
Yes.
Israel was a
Yeah,
people.
but there was it was the British Mandate of Palestine, I believe.
Yeah.
And
We're
then
talking about
Yeah,
the Balfour Declaration here, right?
we're,
The British, before that, determined pledged to basically make Israel before World War One,
mhm.
yeah,
and they did so after World War Two.
And then in the 90s, we had uh, the U.S. buy land in Israel to set up an embassy.
Mhm.
And
mhm.
even though no embassy was actually built, they get money for it. They continue to get money for it. And we have to protect our interest in Israel.
Right. I thought there was
Um,
an embassy in Israel. Like I remember there was a big um quote unquote controversy for Trump moving the embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv like a few years
Yeah,
ago. So
I'm
is it that
I'm
they then eventually built the embassy like decades later or something?
I'm not certain. The last I
Oh.
knew, there was no actual structure.
Hmm.
So my information may be off. Let's see.
So,
Consistent.
so they took money to build an embassy and didn't build the embassy. Now I could make a joke about that, but that get us kicked off of YouTube, so I wasn't doing it.
Um, Consistent with the long-standing security relationship between the United States and Israel, and the unshakable U.S. commitment to Israel's security, and especially to the maintenance of its qualitative military edge, the United States reiterates its steadfast commitment to preserve and strengthen Israel's capability to deter its enemies and to defend itself by itself against any threat or combination of threats. The United States further reiterates that these commitments are bipartisan and sacrosanct, and that they are not only moral commitments but also strategic commitments that are vitally important to the national security of the United States itself. So, we're saying right here, we want Israel to be able to stand on its own. So we're going to give it whatever it needs to fight and protect against any of its enemies. But uh, we're also putting so much into this that it is a strategic stronghold, and anyone that threatens that is threatening us. The United States stresses that integral to this pledge is the commitment never to allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon, and that it is prepared to use all elements of its national power to ensure that outcome. The United States further affirms the commitment to work together with other partners to confront Iran's aggression and destabilizing activities, whether advanced directly or through proxies and terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and Palestinian Islamic Jihad.
that part is just so ironic and hypocritical, because like the reason Iran is trying to get a nuke is because the U.S. pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, and the U.S. is also fucking funding some terrorist groups.
So
Listen,
Iran has
Iran.
been trying to get a nuke since before the Iran nuclear deal existed. They've been trying
Yeah,
to get nukes for decades, and the Iran deal only ended after 2016. It's
Yeah,
not because of that.
they've been trying to get it before the Iran deal, during the Iran deal, after the Iran deal. It they're going to try no matter what, because they don't recognize outside governments. They don't believe in it. And granted, I don't believe in any of the governments either. I'm a fucking anarchist. God damn it. Let's see. Go ahead.
It is worth noting, Molly. You can still dislike Israel and have this be true, but the government of Iran are a bunch of insane jihadis. Even if Israel is bad, Iran still wants to get a nuke simply because it hates Israel and wants to nuke Israel. It also wants the nukes for protection, but it also wants them for offense as well, just because they want to wage a holy war against Israel and the U.S. by proxy. And yeah, you can still dislike Israel and acknowledge that fact.
Okay.
Because they are a bunch of their government is a bunch of insane religious zealots.
By the way, when I was in my town, my nana told me like positive stuff about the Shah of Iran before the crazy
Yes.
people ran,
Yeah.
and he
Right.
was really fucking good. Okay.
Yeah, it's not false. Like Iran was basically a Western country before the revolution. Like you could there are pictures. All right, you know how women can't go outside showing any bits of their body.
Yep.
There are
Yeah.
multiple pictures of just women in bikinis on the beach from before that time. Right? It was
In the
the most
1970s.
it was the most Western country in the entire region. And then
Yeah.
the CIA decided to do what the CIA does best and ruin things.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Let's see. The United States and Israel note that nothing better reflects the steadfast and bipartisan support of the United States to Israel's security than the unprecedented memoranda of understanding on security assistance signed by successive U.S. administrations over the last 3 decades, and that these arrangements demonstrate in word and deed that the United States considers Israel's security essential to the U.S. interests and an anchor of regional stability. Thank you, CIA. You're the one that caused this. The United States strongly supports implementing the terms of the current historic $38 billion memorandum of understanding in full, which honors the United States' enduring commitment to Israel's security, as well as its conviction that a follow-on MOU should address emerging threats and new realities. In addition, the United States is committed to seeking additional missile defense assistance in excess of MOU levels in exceptional circumstances, such as the hostilities with Hamas over 11 days in May 2021.
hey,
Israel.
is it possible that the CIA is somehow financially benefiting from all of this by destabilizing and then just funding Israel, destabilizing the Middle Eastern countries?
Itself is not financially benefiting. Like it's not like they're doing this to make money.
Then why are they doing it?
The heads of the CIA are fucking neocons, and they believe all the bullshit about this, and they think they need to maintain global hegemony. They need to maintain a global hegemony, for bullshit reasons, apparently to prevent things like this from happening. So, in the effort to prevent things like this from happening, they actively cause things like this to happen because they're
But like you
retarded.
can see like
They're
that on a
neocons.
large scale, the
Yeah.
U.S. doesn't want to do this. They didn't want to be in
Neocons have
Afghanistan.
Neocons have never cared about the opinions of anyone else but neocons. Right? They don't care.
Let's see. Israel thanks the United States for its ongoing and extensive support for deepening and broadening the historic Abraham Accords. The countries affirm that Israel's peace and normalization agreements with the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Morocco constitute a critical addition to Israel's strategic peace treaties with Egypt and Jordan, all of which are important to the future of the Middle East region and to the cause of regional security, prosperity, and peace. The countries note that the historic Negev Summit, initiated and hosted by Prime Minister Lapid, was a landmark event in joint U.S.-Israeli efforts to build a new regional framework that is changing the face of the Middle East. So this most of this is basically saying we're giving money to Israel. We have a belief of friendship in Israel, but we also have a belief of U.S. strategic security. And anyone that fucks with Israel is fucking with us, and we're going to put them down if Israel can't.
Yes.
So if Iran does in fact do anything, or if that cybersecurity attack was Israel, ooh, we are in for some bad times for Iran. Let's see. I need to fix this on the screen.
Also, I don't think Iran is gonna be able to develop nukes that can reach the U.S. because even North Korea is struggling with that.
It's not. I mean, all right. North Korea is significantly more impoverished than Iran is. Iran's a relatively resource-rich country and also significantly less incompetently run than North Korea is. Iran's probably at some point gonna get. At some point, there is going to be a moment when either Israel nukes Iran or Iran gets a nuke. I'm not going to say they're going to get a nuke because I don't know whether there's a good chance Israel will just nuke them as soon as they realize getting a nuke is not going to stop anything. Or getting a nuke is inevitable. They may just nuke them first. So,
Is it me or is Dale lagging?
I'm lagging?
I think it's just you, Molly.
Ah, fuck, okay.
Correct.
It's better now.
All
But,
right.
in that case, if nuke is inevitably gonna... If Israel is inevitably gonna nuke Iran, then if I was Iran, I would be fucking facing that nuke as well.
Yeah. At some point, Iran is going to get nuked. At some point, a nuke is going to go off between Iran and Israel. Most likely, Iran is going to get the nuke. And yeah, bad times are ahead when that happens.
I mean, in that case, then it might be good if Iran gets a nuke, just so it can say, if you fucking nuke me, I'll nuke you.
Can we just talk about the irony of this name first?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what name?
The Israeli commander Nimrod Aloni.
Yeah, he's a Nimrod and he's alone. Yes.
Jesus. So he's been captured by Hamas. Who names their child Nimrod?
The comedy just writes itself.
Yes.
You're calling him stupid. Which just adds to the fucking irony because he got captured.
Yes.
Good Lord. Someone's parents didn't love them. Full video of the tank. We've already gone over this tank.
Yeah.
Prisoners of war.
Yep, more of them.
Drone usage.
Another drone. This time dropped on infantry rather than tanks.
Yeah, the Ukraine war seems to have been a bad idea because now Hamas knows how to use drones effectively.
Yeah.
Tough footage from the Battle of Israel.
And yes, Stoner, you are correct.
And they're shooting civilians. This is not conventional warfare. These people are not taking military targets. They're committing terrorism.
Yes. Murder.
I'm sorry, my inner serb is acting up.
Your inner Serb is acting up. Have at it. Let's hear it.
This is where you need to play Serbia strong.
Yes, I should play that so I don't incriminate myself.
Yes.
Hold on, give me a moment.
Karadzic lead his Serbs.
The Israeli army is looking for Palestinian fighters who stormed the streets of Beirut. More Israeli POWs claimed to be soldiers. These are not soldiers.
Is this it?
Doesn't
Hey,
look
what-
like a soldier to me.
What fucking soldier is wearing fucking sandals?
Yeah.
We wear boots.
I hope you can hear
Captured-
this.
Yeah, they're
Captured
just
and
kidnapping
brought to the
people,
Gaza Strip.
and bringing them to Gaza, likely as negotiating tactic.
Oh yeah, let's use a John Deere tractor.
Hell?
Fucking Hamas.
I mean, Ukrainians have been stealing tanks, the farmers from the Russians. Like, you know, it's kind of similar, just reverse.
Israeli Air Force fighters struck 21 Hamas targets in the Gaza Strip. And there are likely going to be quite a few civilian casualties from that.
Yep.
Usage of sophisticated weaponry. The Arab
Yep,
Al-Quds Brigade attacks a car with the Milyutka ATGM. Okay, let's go back for a second. And let's take a look at that first dude. Why are you standing in front of the missile?
I don't know.
Because they're stupid. These aren't sophisticated people who are waging this war against Israel.
I know, and that's what pisses me off. We have nincompoops standing in front of
Nimrods,
missiles
Nimrods.
that are being successful in an attack on Israel.
We have nincompoops targeting Nimrods.
Yes.
Which begs the question: why is this not a stalemate already?
Yeah.
We've got idiots fighting idiots. Good lord.
Give me a sec, I
Yeah.
have a call.
Fine.
Quick mobile groups in combination with drone grenades, drops, and missile strikes seem to have stunned the Israeli army. You think? It's claimed that this is a video of Hamas militants from the Israeli city of Ashkelon. Tel Aviv problems with internet access have started. This is just ridiculous.
Yes.
First goal of Israeli forces is to clean the areas of the attackers and restore security. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea to get on, like, right fucking now.
Yep.
Let's try to skip ahead a bit. This
All right.
is fucking...
Yeah.
We're not even halfway
I
through.
think it's up to like 180 now. When I last checked, the Israelis were finally counterattacking.
Okay, I want to get to that. Whoever is running this Twitter account, they've been doing it for a long time, because this thread has been going for like 18 hours.
So this is an account that has been covering the Ukraine war for quite a long time now. They do things like this. Yeah, this is the thing they do. So I guess they make it thorough. That's a pretty good quote.
Tie me to a missile and fire it at Tel Aviv. I'm ready. Who the hell is this?
No idea. Some jihadi, I guess, on TV in Palestine.
Um,
Who the hell is
see.
that?
This guy?
Yeah.
Don't know. But that
It
is
looks
the
like a guy
dumbest
from
thing
the
I have ever
US.
heard.
Yes. Five
Okay,
okay,
well-
missile and fire meet the enemy.
Wait, that
Dumbest
sounds
thing I've
familiar.
heard today.
That sounds familiar.
Hmm.
And Stoner, yes, I know who the biblical Nimrod was. Palestinian rockets hits in Tel Aviv and Bat Yam.
Yeah,
Iron Dome
apparently
seems
Iron
to
Dome
be
has
overwhelmed.
been overwhelmed. Yeah.
Let's see.
The airport in Tel Aviv. Do we have? And I'm going to do what I can to get these videos that have audio and see if I can't get them translated and transcribed. Israeli army is sending additional launchers of the Iron Dome missile defense system to Tel Aviv.
Huh.
Missile explosion
Interesting.
site in Tel Aviv. And an IDF spokesman. I want to say one thing. Hamas has opened the gates of hell into the Gaza Strip. Hamas made the decision, and Hamas will bear the responsibility and pay
The price.
for its deeds. I'm telling you, they're gonna glass it. They're gonna glass all of it. There is going to be severe civilian casualties in the coming days.
Yeah.
The
Apparently-
Iranian huh?
Apparently, the quote "tie me to a missile and fire me at Tel Aviv" is a older meme from like 2019, maybe a bit
Huh.
older.
The Iranian parliament supports the Hamas attacks and chants death to America.
Based. I'm sorry.
Good lord, you fucking Serbian.
Sorry, I'm in Hamas. Okay, I need to like, support the propaganda.
Another video for the capture of an Israeli military base east of the Gaza Strip killed soldiers, damaged equipment, trophies, prisoners. Crazy to see. I am not going to show this picture.
Understandable.
Residential house hit in Tel Aviv. Anti-Israeli rallies took place in Turkey. Thousands of people rallied in support of Hamas. Demonstrators holding Turkish and Palestinian flags chanted anti-Israeli slogans. The protests
Turkish
took
flags?
place. Huh?
Turkish flags? Question mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why Turkish?
This is in Turkey.
But like,
These are Turkish people supporting Hamas.
I don't understand that. Why?
The Turks don't like the Israelis either.
No.
Remember, they're
protests took-
Muslims.
Protests
Oh,
took
I
place
know
in
why.
Istanbul, Ankara, Adana, and Trabzon.
So I can tell you guys a little quick story.
Yeah.
Basically, Erdogan wants to make the Ottoman Empire. To do that, he needs puppet states to like support his, plan. And basically, in Egypt, there was a party, I think the National Brotherhood or some shit, that was voted in legally. So Israel and I think maybe the Saudis funded like the opposition to throw them out, and they did. And then in Libya, Turkey was funding the National Brotherhood in the Civil War, and they were trying to win that. The current president in Egypt outlawed that party as a criminal organization. So Turkey's hoping that they can get the Libyan one to be in power, so they can have like a puppet and like influence in Egypt and get the party back into Egypt.
Do you
And
know?
I'm pretty sure Israel is also against the National Brotherhood.
Do you know? Is Turkey Sunni or is it Shia? Which one is
Turkey
it?
was a secular republic under
Correct.
Ataturk.
Yes, but I mean,
And then-
current Turkey, are they Sunni Muslims or Shia? Because that would may explain what the geopolitical maneuverings. Because the Saudis, who are primarily the Sunni, don't
I
like
think-
the Shia, who are primarily
Yeah,
Iran, and Iran doesn't like, and the Shia don't like the Sunni either, and they've kind of been fighting for power in the region for 1,000 or so years now.
I
Yeah,
think
Turkey
I think
is
Turkey is
Sunni.
mostly Shiites.
Oh, it
No,
is?
they're mostly Sunni, about 90%.
Well, okay.
Hmm.
And the thing is, either one of those, Sunni or Shia, I don't know which one, they're like Christians, basically. Just
Not
like in
really.
Islam. It's kind of like that. It's been a while since I read
No,
about
so
this.
the
but
main difference between the Sunni and the Shia, I can't remember which one. One of them basically thinks all the let's say the holy texts stop with Muhammad. The other group thinks it's Muhammad plus like his nephew or something like that. Some other guy who both of them respect, but one of them thinks is also divinely inspired. The other does not think that.
Okay,
And that's the whole conflict.
starting
it-
4 hours ago. Go ahead.
Ah.
Okay, so starting 4 hours ago, let's begin to expect a lot of propaganda out of Israel.
Mhm.
This tweet: the Israeli army announced that it had regained control of most settlements in the south on the border with the Gaza Strip. Riots began in northern Israel, carried out by local Israeli Arabs. The situation in cities with a mixed population becomes increasingly tense. This was the first Sunday in Israel in 40 weeks without anti-government rallies.
No, it's not that. Like where they died, they're actually important.
Hamas fired missiles towards Tel Aviv, which is why one of the missiles hit an apartment building. Fragments were scattered in a radius of 200 to 300 meters. Here's the arrival spot. The place is closed. Rescue forces work here.
Gas.
Captured Hamas fighters by the IDF.
Who for some reason have been stripped.
Yeah. And it's like we said before, it's not a war crime if it's the first time.
Mhm.
IDF military equipment is being actively deployed to the border with Gaza. Biden's statement on the conflict.
if he can make one.
They come from the chapter. Yeah, there's nothing.
He can barely even read a teleprompter anymore.
He
Jesus
sounds
Christ.
like he's like telling me a bedtime story.
IDF Mirage jets. Oh, back when they were MiGs, yeah. Yeah, they haven't carried MiGs since we started giving them our planes.
Seems like a waste of money.
Agreed.
Okay, so these are Merkava Mark IVs being transported. The IDF acknowledged the death in battle of the commander of the Nahal Brigade. The commander of the Nahal Brigade, the late Lieutenant Colonel Yonatan Steinberg, was killed during a confrontation with a Hamas near Kerem Shalom.
Oh,
I'm not saying it's a MiG-21. I'm saying that's what they had back while they were still using MiGs as well. IDF spokesman earlier today, we will call up hundreds of thousands more reservists. We have commanders who died in battle. On the northern border, Israel entered Gaza. There is a battle going on. The next escalation is reached. Reminder, Hezbollah announced to join in this case.
Yeah. Apparently, I saw this in a separate tweet. It may not be here, but Hezbollah said that they would be as soon as Israel enters Gaza, Hezbollah is jumping into the war. So I guess Lebanon's
Wait.
fucked too.
wait, but wait. Who's battling this war? What do you mean
Currently,
Hez-
Hamas.
Oh, Hezbollah is in. Okay,
Yeah, Hezbollah is in
Jordan.
Lebanon. Yeah, Hezbollah is to the north of Israel. Hamas is to the south.
Right.
Yeah. And Hezbollah also notably has more heavily armed because they're more directly funded by Iran. So they have the most firepower out of the two groups.
Now we just need Egypt to join in.
Okay, so here is IDF forces moving in Darrow during the evening after the morning that Hamas entered Darrow. Leaving Gaza right now. Netanyahu called on Gaza residents to leave the Strip.
Yeah, Gaza is about to cease being a city.
He is quite literally saying, just by my interpretation, if you don't want part in this, if you don't want to die, leave, because I'm gonna glass this bitch. Heavy military equipment was spotted in the streets of Darrow.
Oh god.
More missiles fired from Gaza. Berlin. Of course.
Yep.
The Gaza
Leave
sector,
it.
They're getting the
after their
concentration
power was
camps
turned
ready.
off. Okay, we are... okay, so the woman
No?
from the original video of a captured woman in the back of a truck, Shani Luke, she turned
So
out
German.
to be a German citizen who came to a music festival in Israel. And it seems
This-
she's dead. So
this
now
could
Germany's about to jump in.
Yeah, this could be an international incident. Oof.
Yeah.
This
Actually,
is
I didn't know that part. This is new information now for
yeah,
me.
this is new information for all of us. This is only an hour ago, which means this came out after we had started the podcast.
Mhm.
Oh no.
Hmm?
It's like,
All right,
Okay.
there we go.
how about that,
The number of hostages we have is many times greater than Netanyahu says. What kind of army is he threatening us with? An army that fell and fled from us as its soldiers throw down their weapons? So there's the majority of people you have, and notice they corrected it. They're not prisoners of war, they're hostages.
Yep.
It was a swipe up.
They're very much signing their own death warrants here.
Israel transport of the casualties. The number of deaths as a result of the Hamas attack on Israel has increased to 300 people. Over 200 bodies were identified already. Footage, there's the same footage that, or no, there's more footage that we haven't seen.
How do they know if that's
Airstrikes against Hamas.
and not just like random cars?
The intelligence network that is provided by the U.S.
By the way, Hamas is running counterintelligence as well.
They're not sophisticated enough to do that.
But okay, they're not sophisticated to do that, but they're sophisticated to do cyber warfare against Israel.
That was likely
No.
Iran.
Yeah, that's Iran.
But it doesn't stop Iran from funding and like teaching them how to do that, so they can do that
Funding
as well.
and teaching are different. You're dealing with very stupid people here. No offense.
And people that live
Smart
extremely
enough.
close to Israel.
I mean, these people have made IADs, which are pretty clever.
Not that hard
you know?
to make.
I know,
Right,
but you need to think
the,
of
the,
that.
goat, the goat farmers in Afghanistan made IE with no
Yes.
support.
And they had no idea what a fucking Nokia cell phone is.
Yes.
And
Right.
I don't know how you're supposed to wire that stuff up to trigger a bomb.
No, you
Yet they
don't.
they
But
figured it out.
it's a fairly simple thing to figure out. You need some sort of explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Generally a plastic explosive, because those are easily detonated with an electrical charge.
And easily made.
Oh,
And you attach some sort of trigger device, as you referred to a Nokia phone. More likely you'd want to use something like a radio, like a ham radio, which is cheap. You can buy it online. It's cheaper than a Nokia phone. Just a simple two-way radio, and you connect it up to the speaker box on the radio, and you set it to a channel, and then you take the other side of that two-way radio, you have it set to the channel, and as soon as a signal reaches the antenna for the radio that's connected to the bomb, or as we used to refer to them, the device,
EM.
as soon as a signal reaches that antenna, it's going to click on to the speaker wires, and it's going to detonate the device.
And now that we have fully explained that, let me just say, hi FBI, go fuck yourselves.
I'm not saying that I've done it, and in fact,
I know.
I'm saying I haven't done it, but it's a fairly simple process. Anyone with a basic understanding of chemistry and electronics can do this. But
Yes.
we're talking about cyber attacks. That was the thing. Hamas cannot do cyber attacks. They do not have the intelligence to do that. They don't have the equipment to do that.
No.
You can't just break into a cyber stronghold with a laptop. You need a lot more power behind it. You need dedicated denial of service attack levels of processing power to do that shit, and they don't. Let's see. Okay, so that is the last tweet. It came out 24 minutes ago.
His face is like,
Israeli forces are actively pursuing and capturing the terrorists. Pants pulled down. blindfolded. We are going to see some horrific
wasn't
shit
dead before
once
the
they
paper.
start glassing Gaza.
He
I'm
was
just
alive
curious,
and now
is there
he's
any actual tactical or strategic reason for stripping them, or is this just to humiliate them? Is there a reason why you'd actually want to strip your prisoners?
That is absolutely a strategic
Probably.
reason. We're talking, not only are we in a physical war, not only is Israel declaring physical war against Palestine because Hamas declared physical war against Israel and actually fucking acted on it successfully for what seems to be a majority of a day,
Mhm.
but now we're getting into propaganda. I mean, we have videos of Hamas saying that we have a number of hostages many times greater than Netanyahu says. Propaganda. And now Israel has to fight back with their propaganda, which is going to be all of these videos of people captured, pants down, blindfolded. This is not PR, it's propaganda. They are trying to absolutely not discourage but demoralize the people that have planned this attack on Israel.
So it is to humiliate them, but it's for a
Oh.
strategic purpose. It's not
Yeah.
just to humiliate them.
Yeah, it's to demoralize them.
Right.
It's to say this is what happens when you fuck with us. And this is only going to continue. This is just going to escalate because there will be another push by Hamas funded by Iran
And or Hezbollah, also funded by Iran.
and or Hezbollah, and there's going to be more propaganda from anti-Israeli countries. There's going to be more propaganda from Israel, and one way or another they're going to get the US involved because the US has a strategic interest in keeping Israel stable.
Oh boy, we're gonna have another Afghanistan.
I didn't even
Erica,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't confirm this, but I just saw on another Discord server that the Israeli internet has gone dark.
Yeah, we've already passed a tweet about it.
Yeah. It is,
Hey, can I ask you guys for a favor?
no.
Huh.
In all seriousness, what is it?
If you feast your eyes on the chat, we have a live depiction of what's going on right now. It's an artistic adaptation from Disney.
Very
Okay.
nice.
I'll pull this up for the viewers. The viewer because it I do find it funny. It's really off color, but it is funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put it up on the screen and get it up for you have Hamas
Wait a minute.
and
yeah, the
you've-
gyrocopter, yes.
and then you've got Jews running away.
Yes.
But understand these are Hasidic Jews, and
Yeah.
Hasidic Jews do not really live all that much in Israel.
This part is,
Oh, they don't?
I need to
No,
pass
most of the Hasidic Jews live in New York.
Go grab the other bottle.
Huh.
At least I believe so.
Why is there more of them?
I would have thought that they would have moved to Israel because they're like the Jewiest Jews. And why wouldn't they want to live in Israel?
The Haredi communities are found primarily in Israel. Okay, yeah. That's Haredi.
I farted again.
Chabad is one of the world's largest Hasidic groups and Jewish
Stood.
religious organizations.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's
Oh.
Chabad operates mainly in the wider world and caters to secularized Jews.
Wait.
In New York.
You have constipation or something?
Although there are only about 200,000 Hasidic Jews in New York, making up roughly 10% of the state's Jewish population and about 1% of the state's population, few elected officials embrace positions that will antagonize the community. Okay. The Hasidic Jewish population in New York is made up of 45,000 Satmar, 15,000 Lubavitch, and 45,000 in Borough Park.
Yeah, New York City does definitely have a large Hasidic population. Fun fact, so does Montreal. They also have a lot of Hasidic Jews with their bizarre dress.
Did I put the bottles into the machine?
Wow. We did almost an hour and a half on nothing but this, and we don't really have the time to jump into the stolen valor idiot.
That would have made so much sense.
This is just,
it's big.
Yeah. Well, and I listen, I remember growing up hearing about things happening on the Gaza Strip, and I had no idea. None. What it was all about.
What do you mean chapel?
I heard about attacks, but I never knew as a kid that the Gaza Strip was right by Israel and that it was part of Palestine and that, you know, Israelis and Palestinians were, you know, at war with each other. Knew absolutely nothing about it.
And they had been at war with each other for like decades, almost a century by now.
What kind of Jew is Ben Shapiro?
He's an Orthodox Jew, so he's not as devout as a Hasidic Jew. He's not as much of a Jew as a Hasidic Jew, but he is the most out of the standard type of Jew, he's the most Jewish, I guess I could say.
Yeah.
The thing is, he lives in the U.S., but he has like no obligation to the U.S. He would always support Israel over the U.S.
Yes.
Even though he was like born in the U.S.
Yes.
He is not ethnically Hasidic Jew, but he is Jew.
He is
both ethnically and religiously.
Yes, he is an Ashkenazi Jew, so that European stock. But yes, it is very clear where his allegiance lies, and it's not to the U.S.
And Stoner, let's not get into his sister, okay? Please, thank you.
Yes.
The Khazar milkers.
Shut.
People in this chat are.
I'm giving you a very stern side eye right now, Molly.
I just know she has the big honkers.
All right, not only people in this chat, but people in this voice chat are too horny sometimes. Cough, Molly, cough.
Yeah, at least I can control myself.
Barely.
Good Lord. So I'm actually going to keep up with this. I'm going
Yeah.
to bookmark this.
You bookmarking the Khazar milkers?
Go to bed, Molly.
No, Molly, stop it. Bookmark bar, new folder, Twitter thread, Israel. Save. Okay. Okay. I have bookmarked this thread. Now, Dale, you said that this account has also followed Ukraine. Do they
Yes.
all stay on one thread, or do they start new threads?
They start new threads, but usually it'll be like, yeah, usually they'll do long threads, maybe like between 10 and 20 usually tweets, but usually they will do new threads about different developments happening in Ukraine in the war. Like they'll do as many tweets as possible on whatever development is happening at the time, and then they'll do another thread about the next thing.
Okay, so not long after the last update, the account said that they're done for the day.
Yeah, and this is definitely by far the biggest thread they've ever done. It's like 20 times what they usually do. So I guess they've done enough. They can go and rest now.
Yeah, well, I mean, 16 hours, that's a long time to look at a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do it, but I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Stoner, stop that.
Yes.
What is he doing?
Yeah. Just enough about Ben
Nice.
Shapiro's sister's large breasts. We all recognize them. We don't have to continue going on about it.
And I apologize to the one viewer that I'm certain is still here.
Yes, certain people need to be bonked and put in horny jail.
Yes,
Yes.
Dale.
Mostly Molly and Stoner to a degree, but mostly Molly.
Mostly Dale, let's be honest.
Go to bed, Molly.
Let's see. Well, we actually have 3 viewers. It looks like.
Oh, very nice. Hello to all 3 of our viewers. I most certainly don't think any of you suck.
Okay. With that, I'm gonna end this early.
All right.
Going over Israel is extremely tiring. I don't know how this guy did it for 16 hours.
Honestly, I can
Indeed.
go for like a day. This is very entertaining for me.
Yes.
With that said, let's go ahead and do our outros. I will start first with our resident former Soviet Serbian, Molly. Say goodnight, Molly.
Good night, Molly.
And then we will finish with our present Soviet Kanakistani, our dirty Frenchy Frenchman, Dale. Say goodnight, Dale.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. And because Monday is Canadian Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to all of you in this awful country. And await the real Thanksgiving next week. Have a nice night. See you.
And with that said, I am going to sign off. I'm going to leave you with our normal outro music. I'm also going to lay out a small announcement. In the coming weeks, our stream format is going to change again, and I don't mean the manner in which we talk about things. I'm talking about what you actually see on screen. That is going to change again. But I have to get working on a bunch of stuff and get everything in order. With that said, I hope everyone has a good evening. and we will see you next week.